All right, guys, we are live. Hopefully you can hear me in the chat. Type something in there if you can hear me all right. All right, let's hit it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest today, one of the biggest female names in crypto. Over the last 3 years, she's built a massive following. She's got like 182,000 subscribers on her YouTube channel. She's incredibly well-versed from crypto, decentralized finance, all the way to technical analysis in the traditional markets. So you'll recognize her from the O Show, where she's usually the host with the most, but today she's agreed to be the guest with the best. So everyone, please welcome Miss Wendy O.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to chat with you guys.
Well, we appreciate you joining. I know my viewers are super stoked. We put out the notification that this was going to happen, and everyone started commenting on the YouTube videos and everything, saying, Wendy's my girl. I'm super excited to have that you're going to have her on and everything. So it's we're pretty excited. How is the weather in sunny California today?
It's raining, and I actually love it. I'm excited about it. I'm very much here for it.
That's awesome. I live in Salt Lake City, and so we've got about 2 feet of snow outside. I've already scraped the driveway twice or 4 times in the last 2 days, and I got to go do it again. So I'm feeling a trip back to California. I've got a lot of family out there, most in the IE, and so I travel back often when I need to get warm.
Nice. I love that.
So, like I said, really appreciate you joining the stream today. There was kind of a chain of events that led to you being on the channel that you may not know about, but about a month ago, I posted a video just asking my viewers if they thought I should expand on my content a bit. A lot of my content is covering projects like Drip Network, Furo Finance, the Animal Farm. There's many others. I cover a lot about smart contracts, Binance Smart Chain, CZ, of course. I've been covering the FTX meltdown. So a lot of stuff like that, but I wanted to kind of double down this year and branch out to larger topics, which is a lot of the stuff you cover. One suggestion in the community was to do more live streams, and specifically to do more live streams with females in the industry, because we feel like it's underserved. So posted asking for suggestions and of who they would like me to have on. Your name came up a lot, of course. So my team reached out to your team, and here we are. So figured we could have this just be a laid back conversation, casual about the space. Got a few questions I'd like to run by you. And then of course, you're welcome to ask me anything as well.
I'm excited. Let's do it.
Awesome. So since this was all instigated by some of my female viewers saying, hey, get more females on the channel, let's start there and talk about just increasing the female adoption in crypto and the decentralized finance space. Over the last 3-4 years, I think we've seen just a massive boom of women getting into the tech industry, just, traditional tech industry, taking over development roles, leading fintech businesses, all that type of stuff. I'm wondering if you feel like we're at the precipice of maybe moving into the same scenario in the crypto world. Are we going to see a big influx over the next couple of years of females in the crypto space?
It depends how toxic the community wants to be. One of the reasons why women don't make content in crypto is because a lot of the interaction is really negative. It's gross. So I feel like that has a big role in it. Like when you talk about influencers from other industries, like the beauty industry, or like it's still toxic there, but it's when you have dudes that are saying really terrible things to you 24/7, it's not fun. So that type of dynamic is going to have to change. I think it will, but we'll see them talk about NFTs, not about crypto, because nobody wants to get that kind of harassment on a daily basis. So probably I would say more in NFTs or Web3 than crypto.
Gotcha. Now, on that note, you've been in the game for a few years now. What made you want to insert yourself into a very male-dominated world and make your mark, knowing that there's all these barriers?
I didn't know. I just started making content and posting, and I kind of taught myself how to trade, and then started the other channels. I started the YouTube channel because I was hosting in-person real-life meetups to kind of bridge the gap when it comes to like the cost barrier, because there's a cost barrier to go to a lot of these events. So I thought it would be a good idea to to start doing that. And then I started the YouTube channel, but I didn't really realize there was barriers until after I created content. But now that I'm out there, other people can see some of that type of stuff. And I mean, it is what it is. If people want to make content in crypto, they will. I don't necessarily think that it's like women versus men. I like, a lot of people like to make it that, which is fine. That's their business. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it can be difficult. If you were, for the female viewers that are watching right now, if you were to give them just like a piece of advice, whether it's this next year they want to go into some form of DeFi development or a project, or even start a YouTube channel, what would your two
They
cents
should.
be to them?
There's no reason why you shouldn't create content or build or learn how to code or learn how to trade just because of your gender or whatever you identify with. If you're like, just do what makes you happy. The cool thing about this industry, it's almost like an emerging market. So you have the freedom to do really great stuff.
Yeah, I agree. And it's nice with the accessibility of YouTube. Really, all you have to do is turn on the camera and try to tell your story. And if you're interested in NFTs or crypto or, DeFi projects or whatever it is, there's at least a market for that. There's a niche for that. And I think it's going to get a lot bigger. I know we sort of had a boom during this last bull market, and some channels got extremely popular. Right now we're in a bear market, so not a lot of channels are doing super well as far as continued growth. But I think the people who start now and build a good following and start putting out good content during the next bull market, they should, gain a ton of traction.
I'm with it. Yeah, it just takes time to continue to be consistent and whatnot. So yeah, it is what it is. And just keep putting content out and just, don't stop it. Consistency is key also. It's very, very important.
Yeah, that's great advice. So let's talk about the elephant in the room for 2022. So 2022, of course, as you know, is super wild for all centralized exchanges and massive platforms. Celsius, Voyager, FTX. I mean, just everything seemed to go under. I'm just curious as to what your thoughts are on for this year in terms of centralized exchanges. Which ones do you think will survive? Do you think Crypto.com has solvency? Just kind of get your 2 cents on centralized exchanges in 2023.
So I'm not going to talk about what exchanges I think are going to be solvent because I don't think that's really relevant. I think that people do need to, check for proof of reserves, check for Miracle Tree, check to see, do their own due diligence, read the terms of services. If you don't know how to do that, then you shouldn't be using a centralized exchange. In addition to that, if you keep cryptocurrency on an exchange and your money gets taken and the exchange goes down, there needs to be some sort of personal accountability for that, because we're taught, like, especially today is not your keys, not your coins day. Today is key day. Like, you're supposed to start learning about cold storage. If you're not somebody who's comfortable with cold storage, educate yourself today. This is, and it's Bitcoin's 14th birthday. So it's important to kind of go ahead and do that. So as far as the, there will be exchanges that will be okay. Some others will not. But again, if you're somebody who likes a dollar cost average, make sure you get your funds off within 24 hours. If you're somebody who's actively trading there, remove your profits after you close that trade. You kind of need to figure out the risk reward with that type of stuff. So we're going to see a lot more heavy regulation coming in Q1 of 2023, which we're already in. And we're going to see a lot more happen with the crypto contagion, in my opinion. 2023 is probably just going to be a terrible year for crypto in general. I'm hearing people talk about a big pump. That's great if that ends up happening. I'm still looking to buy Bitcoin around $10,000. As far as Crypto.com being insolvent or not, I took my money off of there. I sold a lot of my moon bags, some of my positions at a loss, just to get my capital off of there. And I'm glad I did, because then everything nuked another 20% the next day. So yeah, I don't know if they're going to be insolvent or not. I hope that they are. I really like them a lot. They're one of the first easy to use exchanges for your mobile phone besides Coinbase. And the great thing about it is they had the card, etc. Love the team, great people, but at the same time, I don't trust anybody.
Yeah, for sure. I think if this year has shown us anything, it's that you really shouldn't trust centralized exchanges. You should learn about cold storage. I personally, Ledger's my favorite. I put your links down below. So if anybody wants to pick up a Ledger that has not picked one up, down in the description of this video, all Wendy's links are there. But I think that's super important. And like you referenced, Before you go and do that, go watch some videos on it. Learn how cold storage works. Try to get yourself familiar with that process, because you are taking the responsibility away from the centralized exchange. So if you can't trust centralized exchanges, you now have to trust yourself. And to trust yourself, you kind of have to know what you're doing. So poke around, do your own due diligence, and hopefully you guys will find a good option for you. There's there's plenty out there that are available, like a Trezor or whatever. So make the choice that's right for you. So I just saw this earlier actually on your channel, so I got to bring it up. What's the deal with Sam Brinkman-Fried pleading not guilty, and now he has until October until he actually has to come to court?
I mean, that's pretty common when you're talking about legal stuff, but it's just really sad. It's very frustrating because he's basically going to be free for 10 months probably before he goes back to jail. He probably will do a little bit of jail time, but it also gives his team and people time to figure out who they're going to flip on, who they're going to rat on, what they're going to do. I also think that he should not have been let out on bail, but the reason why they let him out on bail is the way the American judicial system is sorted. So it is what it is. Rich people gonna rich people, and we need to stop idolizing them and paying attention to them.
Yeah, I agree with that. Unfortunately, I think if I was to look at my crystal ball, I think next year he ends up pleading guilty to some lesser charges, takes some sort of plea deal. They give him a big term of 10, 12 years, something like that, but he only ends up doing a real small amount of time. And then he's on house arrest in his Bahamas mansion with the ankle bracelet or something.
Yeah, he won't be at the Bahamas. He won't be at the Bahamas, but he will probably be at his parents' home.
Yeah. Which sunny California. It's not the worst place to be if you're out.
So ugly and terrible over here.
I know. So let's see. Regulations, right? They're coming. Obviously, they're needed. We can't move forward in crypto without regulations. Regulations are also a really bad word in the crypto world because people are worried about losing their personal freedoms. So I'm interested. You've done some videos on this recently and thrown out some plausible scenarios. I'm interested. Regulations are coming. We know it. Is there a good happy medium, a good compromise that would help the markets and help big institutional investors actually be able to invest because it's regulated, but not significantly impact personal freedoms? Is there a path there that you see that maybe could start to unfold this year?
Probably, if anything gets pushed out positively for crypto, it would be BitBoy that does it, because he has like his little bill that he's working on, which I hope it gets passed through. However, I don't have any much faith in the public servants to do right by us. They're going to use this as a way to attack and continue to disrupt the industry in a negative way, and it's just not something that I am excited about.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think most of that will roll out this year, or do you think this is going to get drug out for?
It'll probably get drug out, I would imagine.
It'll start to become a major issue in the next bull run. All of a sudden, it'll become really important again when people are making money.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Well, what you preach a lot about being conservative with your crypto, especially in a bear market, conserving capital and all that stuff. Are there any plays that you're liking right now? I know your risk tolerance is kind of in the middle. You're fairly conservative as far as risk tolerance. Some people have a really high risk tolerance, so they're fine. Like me personally, probably 75% of the money that I have in the crypto world is fully risk capital. The rest of it sits on a cold storage wallet. So I do some more risky plays and some in the moderate range. Interested to hear your point of view. Obviously, this is just for you. This isn't for everyone else because everyone has to decide what their own plan is. Are there any plays that you're really liking right now? Any yield farms you like, or specific?
I stay away from a lot of that stuff. I do.
Yeah.
And the reason why, I know it's very lucrative. I know people do really well with it. I know your channel focus on it, but it's too much for me with all this stuff that's happening. There's been so many shady and bad activities happening on some of the DeFi places. Some of them have problems. They're not fully built out yet enough for me to feel comfortable. We need more use of oracles. We need more use of smart contracts, of ZK rollups, things to make things really fully automated without having to worry about, human interaction. So I've got a couple of bags staked from like DeFi summer of 2020. I'm sure a lot of them are gone. But after like all the centralized stuff went down, I've just kind of stood away from it. It's just the risk is too great for me. Way too great for me.
That makes sense. If your risk appetite isn't there, then it makes sense to stay away. So, are you specifically staying in blue chips right now, or are you just dollar cost averaging in and sitting on the
No,
sidelines?
I don't do the dollar cost averaging. I'm a trader. It doesn't work for me. I like to set limit orders. Like I had limit orders set all the way down to 9,500 with Bitcoin, but I don't want to have any capital on an exchange right now. So I kind of stay away. With that being said, I will, I'll find an exchange I feel comfortable with and start doing that soon again. But it's going to take me a little bit of time. And then I'm running Gala nodes, so I don't need to get more of that. And I've got like Moonbag as a Matic and that type of stuff. I will, once we capitulate, once we hit around that 10K area, which again might not happen, that's when I'll probably start adding bags of altcoins too, but like more of the blue chip stuff. I just don't have the risk tolerance for a lot of the small stuff right now.
Yeah, makes sense. So the altcoins, I know you've probably had some success with those over the last, big bull run. Now everything's kind of shaken out. Some have fallen off completely. Some are looking relatively strong. Are there any altcoins that you like once we capitulate that you're just keeping an eye on, looking for price levels?
I like Matic. I like Avalanche. I like HBAR. Again, you guys, not financial advice. Me and Charles H don't get along, but I will get some more Cardano. And yeah, just see what else looks interesting. I'm done with Ethereum. I don't need any more Ethereum. I'm going to dump all that next bull run, hopefully at 10K. We'll see. But yeah, that's kind of, just keep an eye open for different projects. Of course, Syscoin. Syscoin is also a partner of my channel, but they're a project that I'm going to be running a node with soon. I'm excited, and they've been around for a long time, so I'm with it.
That's exciting. Looking forward to hearing more about that. Let's talk a little bit real quick about your predictions on Bitcoin. So I know you've been on with a bunch of the big boys kind of speculating where this is going to end up. Gareth Soloway, just a ton of people. Some people are saying 12, some people are saying 9,500. I think you're in the 9,500 camp, the sub 10,000 camp.
Yeah, Gareth thinks 9,000. I think 9,500, and he says worst case scenario $3,600.
Oh my gosh, that would be insane. So that would be pretty close to the low in what, 2019, 2018?
Yep. I don't see it happening 3,600. I just feel like, so we'll see.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't happen because I think that will be a pretty big meltdown in crypto, and a lot of people will stay away for a long time. That may push the bull market out a bit. What are your thoughts on Bitcoin's upside in the next few years? A lot of people are just looking at trend lines saying, it's going to be roughly 3x the previous all-time high. Do you have any price targets that you are optimistically thinking it might go to in 2024, 2025?
At least 100K the next run.
Yeah.
I don't want to call for anything higher than that because I have no idea.
Yeah.
I would love to say $250,000 Bitcoin, but who knows?
Yeah, that would be fantastic. I would take some $250,000 Bitcoin. Well, awesome. That's the main questions that I had that I just wanted to knock out from current events, recent events, and stuff like that you've talked about on your channel. We can go to the chats and ask a few questions, or you're also welcome to ask me anything if you'd like.
I don't really have questions. I'm just like, I don't know. I'm just happy to be here. And yeah, I'm like very laid back, easygoing. I am excited to go hang out with my daughter. We're going to go do something fun in a little bit. But yeah, I'm happy to answer questions from the chat.
That's awesome. Did your daughter just get off of holiday break?
No, she's still on holiday break. She was supposed to be with her dad today, but who knows what happened. So she's home with me, and yeah.
Better that she's home with you. You guys can hang out after this and have a good time. We won't keep you for too long. But that's awesome. Let me have my admin populate a couple of things in the chat, and let's just answer a couple questions, and then I'll send you off. Let's see. Wendy, what made you get into crypto? And then what happened that made you decide to make the jump?
So I got in end of 2017. The reason why I got in end of 2017, I kept hearing about crypto and Bitcoin on libertarian radio. I initially was introduced into it until 2011, but wasn't tech savvy enough to participate because it was hard back then. But I kept hearing about it. So I started a Coinbase account and then I started investing. And it was really because I wasn't able to invest in traditional finance because I wasn't an accredited investor. And yeah, Bitcoin was easy to invest in, to trade. I was able to teach myself how to trade because there just wasn't a lot of barriers to entry.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's funny that you mentioned that. I always pegged you for a libertarian, the way you talk
Yeah.
about stay in that neutral range for politics, personal freedoms, all that type of stuff, which I think goes hand in hand with decentralized finance and crypto. Just, trying to be responsible for your own funds, for your own safety, all that type of stuff is a very libertarian mindset. And so that doesn't surprise me at all to hear that. I have a pretty similar story. I'm also a libertarian. I would consider myself a libertarian. I got into crypto, bought my first Bitcoin in like mid 2016, and then started with Ethereum and then all that stuff, and started to break down some of those barriers to get into the space and get more well versed on it. But you're obviously a lot more intelligent than I am in this space. But you got to start somewhere and chip away at it. So that's good. I'm hoping that the females that are watching and have been sitting on the sidelines find a path to get in. I used to say, you go start up a decentralized exchange account, purchase your first little bit of Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever token you'd like, just to go through the motions. And that may still be good advice, but now it almost comes with a caveat that if you're going to do that, quickly learn about a ledger or some sort of cold storage so you can move it off of there if it's any large amount of money.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. And that's a great thing about being about self-sovereignty and all that type of stuff, is being responsible for your own actions. It's hard though, but at the same time, I feel like the reward is worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a question that came up the other day, and it is, I think Bitcoin originally was touted as it was going to be a really good peer-to-peer transaction currency. In the next bull run, once everything levels out, do you see another cryptocurrency overtaking Bitcoin as a better peer-to-peer method of exchange?
Oh yeah, no, Bitcoin is great because it has a really we talked about this on my show today. It's got really valuable utility, but at the same time, you have to use Lightning Network really if you want to send transactions for P2P currencies, to pay for coffee, that type of stuff. And Lightning Network isn't as secure.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I think it's. I'm interested to see which one is the front runner. There's some people in my community who talk a lot about, different alternatives to Bitcoin that are specifically targeting, peer-to-peer exchanges. So I'm interested to see how those develop over time, because I think back on the train of being a libertarian, I think part of the reason that so many of us are attracted to cryptocurrency is to be able to take out the central banking system and the government from all the transactions and every single little detail that of your life that they want to absorb and put in a database somewhere. So in order to do that, a medium of exchange that's really going to work for the future is going to have to come to light. And unfortunately for us, it's going to be fought tooth and nail the entire time by the establishment because, of course, once you tie up what would be tax dollars, then the government gets real frustrated and wants to get involved.
Yep.
I got another question that popped up here. Do you think the coins which have utility will be the only ones to survive when regulation happens?
No, because they can't regulate Bitcoin, and it's not a they're not going to be able to. They can't regulate Bitcoin. They could regulate things around Bitcoin, but a lot of people are very excited about the ISO 222 tokens, but at the same time, they fail to realize that they are very, very, very centralized, and it defeats the entire purpose of crypto. That's fine. They can still do good things, but if you're supporting those coins, then you might be kind of supporting the Great Reset and the CBDCs and stuff like that. That's just my only gripe with them. I'll trade them, I'll invest in them, and I'll make money with them.
Yeah. I am a little concerned about how the central bank digital currencies are going to roll out. It just seems like such a Trojan horse. On the one side of the coin, it's going to be really helpful because it's going to onboard a lot of people to the idea of crypto and that it's actually a viable, feasible, alternative to paper money. But at the same time, if the government controls it, generally speaking, whatever the government touches, it will have a lot of faults, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes in this next year. Next question from the DeFi Academy: at what price did you start accumulating ETH?
I think it was under $100. I think it was actually, I'll say under 300 just to be safe. I don't have the chart in front of me, but I want to say it was around that area.
Well, it's a good price to get in. We saw a pretty big run up there.
Oh, yeah.
I purchased a bunch super cheap. I have to look back and see what the dollar amount is. And when that same thing with Bitcoin, I bought a Bitcoin for 600, and then it was moving its way up, but it's a real slow road when I purchased it. So once it got to 1200, I thought, man, 100% gains on my money. I sold it. Of course, I wish I would have kept it, because 70,000 or 69,000 was a much better exit opportunity. But you live and learn. Same thing with Ethereum and Litecoin. Actually, those were the cryptos that were available on Coinbase kind of when I first tuned in. And so that's just where I started. And I really wish I would have hung on to some of those longer, but I was unfamiliar with the crypto space. I'm more well-versed in traditional markets, traded a lot of stock options, more credit spreads and futures and stuff like that. So that was kind of my world. And a lot of people in that world, they're hesitant to go into crypto. They think it's higher risk and all that type of stuff. So those two worlds didn't collide too well.
I get it.
I know you're going to go hang out with the daughter. So let's just slim this down to one more, and then I'll let you go. Again, I super appreciate you joining.
I have to go. I got stuff I got to do with her. She's been waiting all day for mama.
No, you're totally good. So another one from the DeFi Academy: is there anything that you invest in that's outside of crypto?
Myself.
That's a good answer.
10 minutes a day trying to self-educate, working out, drinking water. I know that sounds really cringe, like doing manifesting, trying to think of positive, happy things. I want to do things that help push me forward. I used to be in a really negative mindset and I didn't get anywhere in life. And when I started changing that ideology and that behavior, things started happening for me.
It changes a bunch. Mindset is everything. Is there any particular book or channel that you like to watch every day that you're loving?
I read The Secret and it changed my life. I know people think that's super cringe. I have a VC friend that's super wealthy. He made fun of me. But I wouldn't be where I am without that book sitting in my car.
It's a good one. I mean, I think everyone should read it. And even though it seems kind of cliche, I mean, the principles in there are great. Have you ever read the book, You Are a Badass by Jen Sincero?
No, maybe I will.
Read that one. So female author, obviously. And I like to listen to a lot of audiobooks. I used to travel a lot, so I just got used to listening while I was in the airport. It's even better, I think, if you listen to the audiobook, because, her narrating the thing is just awesome. She's a super funny lady, but definitely put that on the list. I think you'd like it. It's the mindset thing. She's also got a lot of personality, so I think you might enjoy that, but put it on the list. Well, Wendy, I know we had a hard 30-minute cutoff. I really appreciate you joining the channel, answering some questions, kind of going through everything. Really wishing you a really prosperous 2023, and just want to let you know we appreciate you.
Thank you. You too. I appreciate you. Did I send you a link to come on my channel?
You have not.
I'll send that to you right now.
Awesome. I love that. I appreciate it.
Sending you guys love and light. Thank you.
All right. Bye, Wendy.
Bye.